I have to admit something, I really wasn't expecting this thing to be that good. This is SMSL RAW MDA 1 DAC amp combo, and combo stands that this thing has integrated DAC digital analog converter and also headphone amplifier. Regarding the sound of this device, I have been using this SMSL for a couple of months now because I really wanted to test it properly and get used to its sound. The sound in general is basically quite perfect to my ears. I couldn't hear any kind of difference comparing it to my daily drivers topping A90D and topping E50 DAC. These topping devices cost like over 800 euros, and after hearing this SMSL, justifying the price difference is simply impossible to me. The sound in general is very natural, very transparent, and there is maybe just a pinch of warmness in that, but other than that, I really kind of couldn't wish for more, to be honest. The bass was very good, the mids are really natural and pure, especially female vocals are really kind of nice without that artificial feeling that there is something going on and this doesn't sound natural whatsoever. And also highs were very resolving, I couldn't kind of wish for more, to be honest. I have been using this device also in games, and especially in horror games like Silent Hill 2, Alan Wake 2, and also in some multiplayer shooters like Delta Force, and to me the ambient was really there. And especially in those horror games I was able to hear all those small sounds here and there, and it was kind of frightening at the same time because everything was happening around me. I was always thinking, okay, something is gonna surprise me from here, from there, and when I turn around, okay, there was nothing, it was purely the sound. Extremely interesting feeling to feel, and I'm not saying you are not able to hear these sounds with, for example, motherboards, a sound card, but nevertheless I would still argue that having kind of very resolving and powerful headphone amplifier like these ones, you're still kind of able to maybe hear them in a maybe bigger and better way. Of course, you can experiment for yourself, and that depends, of course, what kind of headphones you're using. And to prove my point, please have a listen to those short clips before we move on. I'm not sure where you're able to hear all these little sounds here and there, but to me, especially in horror games, having proper set of headphones and a solid headphone amplifier can really bring those games up to life.
Ciao, signore. You look like someone who appreciates luxury and finesse, and an edge.
When we take a closer look to these device physical features, on the front panel at the very left we have two headphone output jacks, where the bigger one is 6.35 millimeters and the smaller one is 4.4 millimeter. Interestingly enough, this 4.4 millimeter output is in fact single-ended compared to many other audio devices where this kind of headphone output is usually used for balanced output. We also have a quite nice LCD display to navigate throughout these features of this device. And on the very right we have a volume knob, which also is used for kind of different functionalities like shutting down and powering this device on. and we can also navigate throughout these menus by using this volume knob. This volume knob definitely reminds us that this device is kind of on an entry-level side in terms of price range, because it's made of plastic and it definitely has that a kind of cheap feel on it whatsoever. And this device is using digital volume knob, so there shouldn't be any kind of channel imbalance between the left and right channels while adjusting the volume knob. Regarding the rear panel, this device has two different outputs, XLR right and left, and also RCA left and right. Interestingly, this device has 6 different inputs, which to me is a surprising amount of inputs considering this price range and also form factor as well. I cannot think of any single device in this price range and form factor which obviously has 2 different optical inputs. Not only that, but this device also has 2 coaxial inputs, USB-C input and Bluetooth input as well. This Bluetooth connector is used only for input, so you can stream music from your mobile phone, tablet, whatsoever, but no streaming outside this device. So this means that you cannot use, for example, wireless headphones with this device. On the very right, we have a power connector with the power switch, and this device has built-in power supply, which can be a good and bad thing at the same time, because obviously the good thing is that we don't need to handle those annoying bricks whenever we want to plug this device into a power socket. But on the bad side, the thing is that once your power supply dies, in many situations you might be forced to replace the whole device. And also one thing to keep in mind is that this device is lacking microphone input. This device is also coming with a remote control, which to me is surprisingly nice thing to have considering this price range. Although this remote control is very kind of cheap feeling, it's made of plastic, but it can get the job done. And this can be useful in situations where you are sitting away from the device and want to just kind of volume, put it on mute whatsoever. Let's see what kind of features this thing has. We can use this volume knob obviously to navigate through these menus. At the very first, we can select what kind of inputs we are using with this device. Secondly, we can select what kind of outputs we are using. Then we can also select PCM filters. I have tested these filters briefly and I personally couldn't tell any kind of difference whatsoever between them. I'm not saying there is no difference whatsoever, but I personally couldn't hear any. But of course you can experiment for yourself in case you're interested into them. This device also has a gain switch between low and high. I personally have been using this device with low gain all the time. And then there is sound colors. These are different kind of effects. To me, I couldn't hear much of a difference between those. Again, I'm not saying there is no difference, but whatsoever, of course you can experiment with those as well in case you're interested. I have been using this standard option all the time. There is also a pre-mode where you can select between variable and fixed in case you're having, for example, active speakers. Next, we can select FN key, for which this FN key can be found on the remote control, and you can select what kind of options you want to use with that FN key. What is also surprisingly nice about this device is that you are able to adjust jitter related option in terms of if you are suffering from those jitter latencies, and you are able to basically readjust the jitter from this device side. To me, definitely nice thing to have in case you are having those jitter issues. This is something I definitely couldn't expect from a device from this price range. Next, we can select USB mode between USB 1.1 and USB version 2. This USB 1.1 is usually used with the gaming consoles, more precisely PlayStation 4 and 5 and Nintendo consoles as well. We can also change the UI style of this screen, where we have this universal style. I'm gonna show it to you. It looks like this, kind of very basic, nothing special. To me it looks like a kind of some kind of beta mode of this display instead of kind of final product. And there is one other, which is this graphics one. I'm not sure about those namings, where we can see that it looks maybe a bit more polished in my opinion. Dimmer option allows us to shut down this display after up to 60 seconds, and you can of course use the off mode as well, which means that this display will be on as long as this device has been turned on. And you are also able to adjust the brightness of this display. I'm personally using it on the very lowest setting, but of course you can adjust it for your preferences. One thing to point though, that some users had reported that this device can produce some kind of clicking sound while swapping the tracks when you are playing some music. I personally couldn't hear anything in my unit, but of course make sure that you are having some kind of return policy or warranty if you decide to buy this device. My personal recommendation to go to place is obviously Shenzhen Audio, because they were the ones sending me this device for a review. However, I won't be sharing any kind of affiliate links whatsoever, to be completely fair with you. So of course you have a freedom to buy this device from wherever you prefer. My name is Leo and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.